All right, we're live.
Woohoo! Hey,
Super
Gio.
exciting times. Chris,
Nice.
I'm so excited. Let's make sure that LinkedIn, as always, with the refresh time, has told our audience that we're live. I'm just gonna check
Yes. Yeah.
quickly.
Please do so. Let's check that.
So I think this is always the first part of my video or of our lives or the lives that I join is always like making sure that okay, it says that we're live.
Okay,
So
perfect. People can join.
people can join, people can tune in.
Great stuff.
Today we're gonna talk about comfort zone. We're here, me and Chris. Chris, do you wanna introduce a little bit yourself?
Of course. First of all, saludos from Barcelona. Yeah, I'm Chris. I'm a mental fitness coach, and to keep it short, I help people, yeah, to work on the default patterns that have shaped their life, but are blocking their current level, or let's say to reach the next level. And this is actually the essence of everything I'm doing. And yeah, back to you, Gio.
That's beautiful. I'm
Uh,
gonna mirror your Spanish introduction with "Konnichiwa" from Kyoto, from Kyoto, Japan. Um, I'm currently in Japan, and that's one of the two words that I know of Japanese so far.
hey,
um, I'm usually a LinkedIn strategist, coach. So how is this playing together with what I do? Basically, I think the mindset work is essential to achieve any results, and it's something that I like to talk about also with my clients. But I basically, yeah, I help them with LinkedIn strategies to turn views into clients and building personal brands. But today we're here to talk about comfort zone because honestly, I think, well, I'm sure that me and Chris wouldn't be here today if either
no,
of us didn't take our chances, didn't step into the discomfort.
yes.
So I think, Chris, the first question would be, when did you realize that stepping out of the comfort zone was something that needed to happen for you?
I think it was not even. I was really, when we talked beforehand a little bit, I was thinking about that question a little bit. But actually, that was a process. I think there was not a single event that has shown me like, wow, okay, you have to get out of your comfort zone now in order to achieve something. What I have learned way after was more like, you need to create your own opportunities. Opportunities don't come to you, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, you have to create them. Otherwise, the two of us, wouldn't sit here and have this conversation. And but what I have noticed in my time back in Germany when I used to live there, in my time as well as in the Netherlands, and then here in Spain, and looking back over all the time, over all these different chapters of my life, that there were multiple events that have shown me or proven that gave me evidence that only when you get out of your comfort zone, you can actually achieve something in your life. So because for me, there's always I'm not sure. Did you ever heard about the cause and effect equation?
Maybe, but maybe you wanna give me a hint
Yeah.
on
Okay.
how that
Okay.
looks.
And it's actually quite fascinating because this is part of how I studied NLP, CBC, neuroplasticity, and so on. That 80% of humans roundabout are on the effect side of life, and only 20% on the cause side. And the cause side is when you create your own life. Effect is when life happens to you. So, and I used to live on the effect side for way too many years in my entire life. So I let life happen to me, yeah, without controlling what I would like to do in life. So where I would like to do it, when I would like to do it, and what I would like to do it. So, and looking back in my history, it was like, oh, okay. actually, when creating these opportunities, life is it's way better. So I flipped from there to there.
Yeah,
Or what
honestly,
for
like
you?
already this introduction, it makes me want to deep dive into this topic for the next 6 hours. So I'm gonna have to control myself. But I think, look, I already agree with everything that you've said, but I just wanna tie it back to what you said right at the beginning of your intro, which is basically opportunities don't come your way. Before I even give you like my understanding of when basically breaking out of the comfort zone was key in my
Yeah,
life, I just want to touch on that because I believe it's one of my deepest beliefs.
yeah,
I definitely want to make a point about it because I
yeah.
believe it's something that I really want to share usually with my audience. So if I have the opportunity to do it now, it's
Go for it,
incredible.
my friend. Go for it.
And honestly, it's something that I share with you. I believe that whenever we have a dream, whenever we want to achieve anything,
Hmm.
we need to go after it
Yeah,
in, like, with intentionally, in the sense that we need to make a plan
yeah,
to achieve it, and we need to take action. I do not believe like in luck, in the sense that okay, you can get from A to B with luck. Surely, sometimes it can be that one luck event might happen, but it usually happens once you're already taking action towards that dream.
yeah, yeah,
So, whenever you really want to achieve something, then you better like put your mind to it and say, okay, this is where I want to get. Let's see how I can get there. And this is also one of the things that I realized because back in my, let's say, 20s, very early 20s, let's say 2021, I was also stuck in a life that I really didn't enjoy, right?
yeah,
I felt like I was in that 80% that you just talked about.
yeah,
I felt that, I was a passenger of the events of my life.
yeah.
And I really felt terrible about the life that I was living.
I love the description, by the way. Passenger of your life. Quite accurate.
Yeah, honestly, like, I wasn't happy with anything that I
Yeah,
was I was doing. Like my university just felt boring. My group of friends didn't feel aligned. I didn't feel like I was doing anything that I actually wanted to do.
yeah,
And I realized that it's just because I wasn't living. I wasn't doing what I really wanted, and I wasn't challenging myself enough.
yeah,
And I think that now it comes that link, like the challenging oneself means getting discomfortable, right?
yeah.
Breaking out of the comfort zone. And I wasn't doing it. I was scared. And I usually, this is bad, but like I look back and I realize that one sentence that I've heard for a very long time in my life was from my mom, like, don't do this, it's dangerous, which usually was paired with "you're gonna die." So it was,
Oh,
it was a straight link. And
inherit
so,
inherit scarcity. Holy.
yeah,
Okay.
so I was like this kind of energetic kid,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I want to try this, and I
Yeah.
would hear, no, don't do it.
Oh,
And so I embraced.
sorry to interrupt,
Go for it.
Joe. Have you been this kid always when your mom said something like, "Oh, I would do it anyway, but thanks for advising."
So mainly yes, but like
Good one.
I was always the one going against the advice
Yeah.
that it was being given, and learning, like, crashing my head first basically into
Yeah.
problems. But yeah, that was something. It was like, uh, I was afraid,
Hmm.
and that fear was keeping me in a reality that really didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Was it also similar, like the similar for you?
Yeah, it was very, very similar, especially in my time back in Germany. At one time, really, I mean, it was in my end at the end of my 30s, right? So, and I was not happy with my situation at all. So, I mean, I ran a very successful business. I was a dog trainer and dog walker. So, and I had 2 employees. Um, but at the end of the day, I had also a distant relationship to the Netherlands, you know.
Yeah.
And what I found out in this time, I mean, when you're at the end of your 30s, it's sorry, 20, end of my 20s, not 30s. Sorry,
Mhm.
big mistake. Ooh, 10 years in between. This is a very changing time. I mean, not only, you know, every 7 years our body is changing, hormonal and physiology, you know, every 7 years. So with 28, 29, I felt a big shift, and I was not happy with anything at all at this time. Like you said, neither with my friends. I mean, even though my business, I made good money, and I used to live awesome life. Had a amazing flat in the center of Berlin. I used to live alone with my dog, uh, and it was actually all perfect. But something felt, yeah, like we say in coaching, you know, when something feels off. And so I decided, okay, there needs to be a change need to happen. So, and I took the decision in 2000. What was it? 2015. I moved to the Netherlands. So, ciao cacao. And this this moment has shown me that, okay, yes, it is lot of effort. Yeah, there's a lot of fear, because the fear what drives us most of the time or keeps us stuck is the fear because of the unknown future. But if we keep, like you said in the beginning, our thoughts intentional here in the present, in the here and now, we can actually make everything possible. But fun fact is, I have changed then over the years. We can talk about that later a little bit deeper. So many times that I've found that change is just a part of uh, life, because everything changes 24/7, every single second. The problem is, we humans, it's hard for us to adapt as quick as change happens, you know, and therefore we very often say, nah, I don't know how that plays out for me. Nobody knows, but only when you try, and you will figure it always out. This is a fun fact: you will figure it always out.
Yeah.
So I moved to the Netherlands, and 3 years later moved to Spain. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like, and you just repeat the change. You repeat changing all the time. I mean, you're in mid of it. You're in mid of the move, right? So let
Yeah.
us tell us, tell the
Look,
people listening how it is for you, because you're right in it.
yeah, look, I think the one parallel that I want to do, and also the one thing that I really want to maybe go deep also later in the conversation is uh like what do you remember, like what helped you just make the change? Because I tell you why I asked this, and the parallel,
Yeah,
like my story is very similar to yours. So when I was very unhappy, and I was feeling stuck, like I just moved to France, and again, ciao cacao. Like I I
why
kn-
France?
knew I knew that I needed to make a change,
Yeah,
but I think maybe, like we can talk about how we arrived to make a change. I
yeah,
have I have my idea, because now, for example, yeah, you said like I'm in the middle of, let's say, discomfort, in the sense that, like after France, I moved to Switzerland, Austria, back to Italy, then Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and now Japan,
yeah,
and I've done also Vietnam. But I think it's all the learnings, the lessons that I carry through that now help me basically be
yeah,
comfortable in discomfort.
yeah,
But I think starting from the beginning, because maybe someone
yeah,
among our audience might be struggling with breaking that fear.
yeah.
And so maybe you can give your point of view. I have mine already. So maybe we can talk about that.
Okay. No, actually, it's quite simple. For me, it was really, I mean, the fear was always there. Also, after the second change, the third one, the fourth one. The
Yes.
thing is, the more you repeat it, the easier it becomes. This is really a life lesson I have learned for myself. So that's why change does not scare me anymore. It actually makes me excited because
Yeah.
body-wise, excitement as well as anxiety are actually almost the same internal body processes. Yeah, so just our mind makes it up. Okay, are we anxious about it or are we excited about it? So at the end of the day, it's on us to decide what we want to be. But there's a different story. The thing is, what it was for me, especially in Berlin, I was just fed up with everything. So I mean, I have arrived at a level of misalignment that I said something had to change, you know? And this was actually the initial point. What always helps is when you have someone else either next to you to support you on this change and go with you the path, or you have someone on the other side waiting for you
Mm.
to make this change happening. So, I mean, this was the case for me. Someone else was waiting for me. But there's also a different story. And this was my move from Germany to the Netherlands. You know, this is very helpful. That was the first move.
Yeah.
The second move was way different because moved from the Netherlands because I was not fed up with the Netherlands itself, only with the weather. The weather was, I mean, bro, you cannot imagine. If you're 3 years in a row, you're leaving the house and you have the wind and the rain always in your face, whatever direction you go. At one point, you cannot stand it anymore. You know. So, I mean, we had also dry days, but
Just a
rare
little.
ones.
Just like in Austria. I can tell you, same as in Austria. So
So, and there it was a bit different. A friend of mine in the Netherlands, also Italian from Puglia, she introduced me to work and travel via workaway.info. Perhaps you have heard about this platform. So, and I was, what was I, 32, 33 at this time. So it was in 2018. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So what I have done is actually just looked for two projects. I applied for, or actually I applied for many. I wanted to do an entire trip through Spain because the plan was I wanted to meet my friend. Her name was Francesca. Wanted to meet in Patagonia one day. So, but for that, my brain was like, okay, I need to speak Spanish somehow because I cannot go to or South America without any Spanish. I think I will just, me. So, and I thought, okay, let's find projects. I couldn't find any projects along the north coast where I wanted to explore first. So I only found in Catalonia some. And however, this is how I ended up in Catalonia. So, and I had another starting point in one of these projects in the north of Catalonia, close to the French border. And it was a social project. We rebuilt an entire casa, a house over there. So it was very, very nice. But again, this was a move with an end goal. And if you have a goal, I mean, I would never recommend someone do a step without having this kind of goal, what you would like to do there. For me, it was collecting experience. So I had my why. And the how was, okay, I was figuring it out, but my what was, okay, I'm supporting this project over there. So, and from there, I just took it, and moved to the next project and to the next project. And after 6 months, I think I was in 4 different projects over here. So, and every project is a change. And you tell your subconsciousness all the time, okay, this change, yeah, it was not so bad. I figured everything out. Everything went well. And at the end of the day, your brain will just get used to it. So you're actually creating a habit about change over
yeah,
time, you know? So, but
absolutely.
please clarify like what you said. And I wanted to actually ask you because you have missed one. You said about the how and the what, but the why missed. And if you figure out all three of them when you want to make change becomes way easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say having that clarity to begin with in
Yeah.
anything. You
Yeah.
know, when I talked about like having a plan and then executing, for
Yeah.
me, like the plan is not necessarily just the how, but it's like, why are you developing this plan?
Yeah.
Like, what is the goal that you're after?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, for example, that, you know, when I moved to France, my why was like becoming a version of myself, like a better version of myself
Mhm.
that wouldn't suffer, let's say, wouldn't feel miserable in a life that on the outside it looked quite perfect. I was lucky enough to study in a good university, have good grades, and overall I was a good student and playing sports, but it just didn't feel right. So
Mm.
personally, my why was like, okay, let's become the version of Giorgio that actually you want to you want to achieve. Of course, it's a goal, you know, that always moves,
Yeah.
especially if you're into mastery. I think as both of us are, like, you know, the learning's possibilities are never ending.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I was like, okay, I definitely know that there is a gap, so I want to fill that. And for me, it was necessary to go and take that step.
Mhm.
And I wanna talk about, like, you know, a little difference that I had the first time that I took that scary step.
Okay.
First of all,
Go
I
for
want
it.
to say, like, fear doesn't go away. Like,
No.
you can get used to it, as you said. You know, fear is always there, but you get used to it in a way, and it sort of excites you at
Yeah.
a certain point. But the first time for me, I didn't have anybody on the other side, right?
Oh
Like
wow.
nobody actually supporting my journey as well, because I mean, as a sort of late teenager, let's say, you know, starting of my 20s, I actually wanted to break, like to put like an exclamation mark and go away from home, because also I didn't have a great relationship with my mom. We couldn't stand each other anymore.
Okay. Wow.
Um, and so of course they you know, they helped me with my decision, but they weren't really happy with it. What helped me, and I find that what still helps me, is thinking of like, what's my biggest fear, right?
That's a very good
Because
one. Yeah.
for example, I can tell you, sure, I'm afraid of moving to France, um, going to a university without speaking the language because I couldn't speak French.
Oh,
And the
so you
one,
studied in France?
yeah, I studied in
Oh
France,
wow.
like,
Okay.
but I didn't know French. I mean, it
Oh
was
wow.
an English master, but the whole
Okay.
life in France
It's
is in
French.
French, so they they do not speak
Wow.
much English.
Respect,
From
man.
and you know what I was thinking was like, what am I afraid the most of? And honestly, like, the fact that staying comfortable already makes you uncomfortable, in the sense that you actually, you know, feel the pain, and you're like, you
Yeah.
feel stuck, and you feel
Yeah.
like you're living someone else's life but not yours. I was like, I'm actually a bit more afraid of like waking up in my 50s and regretting my decisions in life. And so that still is today my biggest fear. Like, I'm afraid of not going after my dreams, because I know that the life that I will be living, like, in a few years' time, if I do not go after my dreams and I take action, will be something that really won't feel good. And so I was like, you know what? This feels scary, but it feels like the right step to follow my why, and this is gonna become my how. And so I think that
Nice.
still today, this is one of my key tools, basically, to go after that.
It's actually very interesting what you're saying. Do you know that there is a term for what you have just described?
I didn't know.
No, it's called the cost of inaction.
Ah, yes.
So the COI. If you just think about it, how many people never make the calculation. Never. They never calculate like you did. So they fear most to make a move rather than thinking about what it costs them on long term when they stay where they are. So, and for many people, it's actually fantastic to see and observing, because I love observing people, especially also my circle of friends, who is moving and who is staying where they are, and
Hmm.
because of never making the calculation, you know. And I'm very glad that you said that your why is actually, or your driver of the why is the COI. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. For
That
me, it
was
was never. For me, it was never like that. For me, it was
mm,
just okay. I want to do something different. I want something different because this is
yeah,
where I am. Because there's a very, very wonderful saying. My mom. I mean, this is a saying I'm following since she ever told me that. She always told me, Chris, if you're not happy with something, try to change it. If you cannot change it, leave it. And this is actually my lifelong driver to optimize my life and to do the stuff that's necessary to either change something or to leave it, you know.
yeah,
So it's always those two steps. And
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. And
I'm very
that's how you
grateful.
stay aligned, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's key. I think that now, like, I love the fact that you gave a name, like, to my drive, like the little nudge that keeps me like uh
going, yeah,
discomfortable, like with the cost of inaction. And I think, apart from being like cost of inaction is also one of the key psychologies that people in sales also like love to talk about, because it's like, okay, if you don't invest now, then what? Right?
then
It's like,
what? Yeah,
if you don't invest in yourself, is if you don't buy,
yeah,
then what? And I think I usually don't like to talk about that because it feels I don't know, it just feels a little salesy,
pretty.
but it it's true. I think sometimes, most of the times, when I see, like, when I'm in sales calls and I talk to prospects,
Yeah,
I agree with you. Like, most of them don't do the calculation of like the cost of inaction.
yeah,
But for me, honestly, like, it comes down even to like realizing what you want to achieve, right?
yeah.
And for example, now let's talk about like also our now, let's say, comfort with discomfort and how we got used to it. But
Yeah,
for me, like, now, if I say Japan, if I say like my life in Indonesia or my travels, sure, there's a part of me that took this decision because basically I always think, uh, look 20, 30 years down the line, how big will be the regret if you
yeah,
don't make it happen now, right?
yeah,
And I mean, I think that we all probably know, like, one of the biggest regrets on someone's deathbed is that they haven't seen the world, right?
yeah,
They haven't taken the chance, they haven't dared, right,
yeah.
in life. And
True.
for me, there is definitely that part, because also, again, like, the 21-year-old me was a slave of inaction. Like, I was I was honestly like, whether it was talking to a girl that I liked, whether it was like, asking for a favor or going and doing something that I really wanted, I
Yeah,
was always the one that maybe thought about like the grand sentence that I would have said the day after, but when it was too late, right? It was like, oh my
yes,
god, I should have said this. This
yes,
would have happened, and making trips, but it was always too late. And so now I find that I'm more in a zone, in a place in my life in which, I see what I want, I
Mhm.
understand what I want, and then I just make a plan and I try to execute as much as I can. And I think that that helps me, and the curiosity, the desire to actually achieve like a better, life, and something that feels better in general, whether it's economical, whether it's freedom, whether it's, just anything, but something that feels better is definitely something that drives me now. How about you, for yourself?
Just a quick question in between. How long does it take you right now to make this switch within your brain? Okay, I go for it.
I would say it's quite quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my girlfriend tells me that, and this might feel braggy, but
Okay.
it's something that I'm pretty proud of, especially to hear it from someone else, because again, I always compare myself to the 21-year-old self.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
she
one.
says that I'm one of the few and most like execution driven people that she knows. So whenever I say something, if I say that I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, perfect. I have the
Uh,
same philosophy.
yeah. So I would rather say, like, for example, when it comes to friends, someone might do a proposal or like, oh, let's go do XYZ.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't feel well, if it doesn't sit
I
well
can't do
within,
it.
I'm just gonna be like, I'm not sure. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
no,
I'm
no.
not gonna be the one
Even when
person.
even when
Sorry.
it's a maybe, even when it's a maybe, it's a no.
Yeah, if it's
So,
I try to live by the mindset, like if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no.
yeah, that's
Like
it.
if it doesn't feel quite right, then I would rather say probably not,
Yeah,
rather than giving fake chances, fake hopes. But this is also another story. So if I say yes, it's gonna happen.
yeah. No, totally agree. Coming back to your question, it's fascinating for me. I'm turning 42 this year, so I'm not the youngest anymore. And really, I do the same like you do. Comparing myself only with my past, not with other people out there. So they have
Mhm.
their story, I have my story. And really, you're right now in end of your end of your 20s, right?
Yes.
So, and I mean, I haven't been as far as you are in the same age. Yeah. So that's why a big applause to you, that you have understood already what it takes to make a move. So I wasn't. I mean, I did different moves, but not always the most beneficial ones for myself. Anyway, um, honestly, I would love to have had that kind of um, mindset already back in the days, because I think because of that, I missed a lot of opportunities. And I know, I have to admit, I'm a slow learner, but I learn constantly. Very slow learner. I mean, I become also faster now. Nevertheless, if I would have taken action earlier in my life and understood things, how they actually work earlier, I would be definitely somewhere else. Definitely. But now, okay, I'm just working for 5, 6 years on myself. I mean, since I started traveling South America for a year, so many things opened up, and it was like, wow, okay, there must change something in a big way in my life. And I mean, I don't regret where I am right now, because I have made a lot of experience other people do not have done, in their
Yeah.
lives, or not even similar ones. And uh, anyway, there are a few things. I would definitely not be here today where I am without all the experience I have done. But still, my recommendation to everyone: start as early as possible, because there are so many opportunities out there. Go get them. Go grab them. So the world is yours, but you need to do something for it. You need to get out of your comfort zone, and you need to. If you want to change in your life, you need to get your ass off the couch. So
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
I'm sitting comfy here, but
you know uh, Actually, like in one of the early days of my LinkedIn presence, I came up with an analogy for comfort zone, right?
I'll go
the
for it.
comfort the comfort zone is like your favorite couch.
Oh yeah,
It's great, and it makes you want to sit in it, throughout the
yeah,
whole day. But
yeah,
then eventually it starts giving you back pain, because sitting too long, sitting too comfortably is just gonna, get your muscles to get a bit softer, a bit
yeah,
weaker, and eventually you're gonna end up with the back pain.
yeah,
And so even though, and I think here it's good to talk about the cost of inaction, like
yeah,
even though you're scared about taking action, like it's really important to understand that if you don't, like there's always an outcome also that comes from that. It's
yeah,
not like your situation stays stable. Maybe it does stay stable, and that's already like quite, to me, quite an ugly situation to be, especially if I think about my situation back in the days.
Yeah.
But usually is more of like a downward trajectory, right?
True. Yeah.
Like if you stay too comfortable. And so, that back pain that I used to talk about is usually like, maybe if you don't learn, if you don't, for example, now with AI, like I do not like to use AI for writing, but that doesn't mean that I do not use AI at all. And I think that, for example, stepping on the train or not stepping on the train of AI would then mean that you probably get, dropped off at your job or wherever you are, because you probably don't have new skills and the old skills don't apply the same way anymore. The
Yeah.
relevance, right, um, isn't the same anymore. And so I think that in that, staying like in the same level, there's only to lose. So
Yeah.
if you think about, sure, like here, going here from A to B is scary, sometimes scary as hell. But what if you stay at the level? Like, what happens then?
This I think a very good point you are mentioning here. People don't like to change. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry. I think we humans, we have created this, I love to call it the golden cage, and this kind of society where actually none of the threats we humans know from our past, yeah, like saber-toothed tigers and mammoth and whatever animal wanted to kill us in the past. I mean, those animals do not exist here anymore. I mean, yes, there are other threats, but they are kind of minimal, they're obvious, and you can avoid them easily. Problem is that our brain still has this threat response because it's anchored in our reptile brain. I mean, this is the oldest and most fundamental part of our brain. And so it's natural that we humans fear when it comes to change, when it comes to explorations, to new things, Still, everyone watching this, I would like to ask you to open a history book and look where we humans actually came from before we settled. We were nomads. We usually were exploring the world because we had to adapt to seasons, to circumstances, to floods, to whatever happened in our world. So we have created a society of comfortability. Yeah. So, but it's not us. We are made to do better, actually. So I would really invite everyone watching and listening just to think about and reflect a little bit where we're actually coming from and where we are today, especially on every situation individually, and think about how they could, come over their own threat response when it comes to fear, and just make the move and make the move in little steps. People, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but for you probably also the first step going to France was a huge one, right?
Yeah, I would say that was definitely like a big one.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's always, it's an accumulation of experiences.
Yeah.
And so, for example, it's a bit like the old analogy of like the drop that makes the water, like go out from the glass. I actually don't know exactly how to say that in English, but whatever.
I got you.
I know it in Italian, but I think that personally for me, it came from sports, right? So like that accumulation, that sort of like, let's say, comfort with discomfort in a way, or like the getting used to it, really came from my background as a person who did quite some sports. um, and I think that, when I love doing some crazy, like, extreme sports, right? I do like free ride skiing, a bit of freestyle, cliff diving, and downhill, whatever. But even there, I'm not that person who just, you know, turns off the brain and just says, screams, send it, and just goes for it without having any previous experience. I've never
Yeah,
been that person. I
yeah.
always still have that voice in my mind that says, don't do it, it's dangerous, you're gonna die.
Oh,
Right?
that's natural, please.
So I still have that. But I find that having little experiences every day in which we test ourselves, right? Like,
Yeah.
for example, it can be like, oh, you see a new food. Like, for example, I'm here now in Japan. Yesterday evening, we went out for dinner, and there was a certain food that we had seen already, like quite a few times, and it didn't look great. And but we were willing to try it, to
Yeah,
to give basically our fear in the brain, or like, oh, this is gonna be bad, to like a reality, associating like a fear response within my brain
yeah,
to an actual empirical analysis.
yeah,
So
exactly.
will this kill me? Will this be as bad as I imagine it to be?
Yeah,
And then again, that little discomfort in everyday life, and again, this
yeah,
is really tiny, just trying a new kind of food is something that even sounds banal, but if you keep doing it in every area of life, I think that that's how you build the resilience to fear. And if I think about, like, even when I did my biggest cliff dive was 15 meters.
oh, wow.
Literally, my brain, when I jumped off of 15 meters, I felt like my soul and my body were detaching. Literally, this is the best way I can describe my
Yeah,
experience. Like, I
nice.
felt lighter, and I
Yeah,
felt like, I was nearly like a potato bag,
yeah,
because my, I don't know, like a part of my body, I left it on the cliff.
yeah,
And when I think about that, like my brain literally told me, okay, you're literally dead. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna die.
yeah,
And when I came out of the water, I was like, oh my God, like I didn't die. Like my brain was lying to me.
yeah,
And then what I did was immediately doing it to confirm that it wasn't a dream. It actually had happened. And I
yeah,
think that, but before that, I had done like 1 meter for years, 2 meters, 3 meters, then four, five, I worked my way up.
yeah,
And so my advice is never like go to the extreme, like, for example, if you've never done, I don't know, skydiving, just go and do it from a cliff,
yeah.
because you're probably gonna die, right? But
If you have no
what?
guidance, yeah,
Yeah, if you have no guidance, if you have no experience, right?
yeah,
So I always say, like, try to beat your fear, try to work your way up
yeah,
with graduality, basically, in your discomfort,
yeah,
because that's eventually gonna lead you, like with 1% better every day, it's gonna
yeah,
lead you to crazy, crazy places,
yeah.
right? So this is one thing that I really believe in.
Uh, I mean, you gave a wonderful example of how we can actually beat the fear in a step-by-step process, right? So, because look, when I started cycling, was it 10 years ago? I didn't actually didn't know back then what I was capable of. So now, just going for 50, 60 kilometers in one rush, so no problem for me, and I gladly take the way back. But back in the days, I was not even my brain couldn't just imagine I wasn't able to do that. The
Yeah,
same as with just 20 kilometers of hiking with 1,500 meters
yeah,
altitude of difference. So I was not thinking that I ever would do that. And what you said, so doing it step by step, brick by brick, in order to get every day, let's say, one whatever percentage better. This is an amazing way. It's a very boring way. This is the
yeah.
point when it comes to change. It's never sexy. It's never sexy, but it works. It just works, and it needs your discipline. It needs your consistency, and your commitment and accountability to get there. And I would like to add one more thing that helped me in the past and also helps some of my clients nowadays when it comes to this kind of fears, when it comes to change. Ask yourself before if there is every evidence that things never worked out in your past because you were so fearful and have done them and done them anyway, you know. And I would almost say that in 99% of the cases things were working out well,
Yeah.
because our brain always makes it worse than it in reality actually is. So yeah, our threat response in the prefrontal cortex is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just give you a nightmare before you go into paradise, you know. It's like,
Yeah. Look,
why? Why do
honestly,
you have to go through that?
I agree. I agree so much, and I find that literally, like looking at that empirical, like proof,
Yeah,
historical proof, is so essential to then test yourself even higher.
yeah.
Uh, because again, like I love to make this example. Like it's very private, but like again, my mom, my mom.
We don't tell anyone, Gio. We
We
don't
don't tell
tell
anyone. We're just live on LinkedIn. But like again, my mom had very like big limits on a few things that never felt like as they never made sense to me, right? To the
Okay.
point like you don't put a dish after eating egg in the dishwasher because it's gonna still smell or it's still gonna be dirty or whatever, like the dishwasher does. I was like, why
What?
did they invent the dishwasher if it doesn't work? And so like that was the reality I was living in.
Okay.
um, and
Interesting.
I couldn't break out of it because my mom was in control, right? And then one of the first things, literally, like when I moved to France, I was like, let's see if this story about like the little
Get
things, and this
proof.
is the proof again. I was like, I need proof that
Yeah.
these lessons in my life, they actually make sense.
Okay.
Most of the times they didn't.
Yeah.
And so basically my life since France has been like, let's test whether this assumption that my brain creates
Yeah.
is actually rooted in reality
Yeah.
or if it's just a construct of our brains.
Good
And
point.
so like every little thing, and this might sound boring or obsessive, but many of the things that I do in my life, starting my business, having these lives, like inviting you, even like sending you an invite, I know we're friends and so on, but I still need to try and say like, will Chris want to talk with me? Like, will he want? And again, the only way of proving to myself that actually it can be a reality is to go for it,
Yeah, just
right?
ask. I mean,
Just
asking
asking, just taking action.
costs no
Again,
money,
like
man.
exactly. And for me it was like, let's start from the why, right, of this conversation. Like I want to bring value to my audience. I want to bring them like tools and like really like uh tips and tricks, let's say, that they can implement in their own life to basically get a better outcome, to go after their dreams. That's my purpose in general. And so I was like, I wanna make sure that I have conversation with other individuals who share this, you know, this
Mindset.
mindset and this
Mhm.
wanting to basically
Yeah.
give value.
Yeah.
And so then here we are, like the way we do it, the reason why we're sitting is because we're like-minded and we both took a chance because
Yeah.
we just came together and we made it happen.
And we are open to it, you know. The
Yeah,
thing
we're
is,
open to it.
many people are closing themselves up
Yeah,
and don't don't open themselves to possibilities that could come along their way. So
yeah,
and this is sometimes a little bit sad to see, to be honest. Also with my family, with my friends, you know, and people I generally know, that we're standing too many times in our own way, you know, and because of that, there's this wonderful saying, uh, you don't see the woods for the trees, so it
What does
means
that mean?
that you don't see, because of you're in your own way, you don't see all the opportunities that are laid out there in the world for you.
Oh, yeah,
So because you're blocking yourself, living in your own bubble, and don't look over the next, or around the next corner, over the next edge, or whatever. So however you want to phrase it, this is a point which I have learned in my life, since I opened myself up for a different life also happened to me. I'm not only causing it, but it also happened to me, but in a very unexpected good way. That I make what I mean. The fun fact is, it does not feel like I have done something, but actually I did. So it feels more like life happened to you, but in the opposite way, in the good way. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So and it does not feel like effort anymore that you do something, but still you're on the cause side, not on the effect side. But it
yeah,
feels like life happened to you in just a good way. And this is what I think we call luck at one point,
yeah,
that we created actually, but it's so easy to us that it does not feel like effort anymore, and then it just happens to us.
yeah,
So, and many people are in their own way and blocking themselves, in my opinion, to get after their goals, to achieve what they want to do in life, to create the life that feels aligned, that feels fulfilling, that I mean, even me 5 months ago, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I knew already, oh, 2025 was an amazing year for me. 2026, I had the feeling could just become better, but I didn't know what will happen. So if I would list down what happened just in the first 4.5 months now, man, we are sitting another hour, I would say, because it's just insane what happens in this time. And it was the same for you, man.
yeah,
I'm following you for a year, I would say, and we are talking for
yeah,
6, 7, 8 months. I mean, regularly, either on WhatsApp or meeting for Google Meets or something like this. And so I see what happened in your life. And if you consider that, wow, there's so
yeah.
much potential in all of us. We just have to explore it.
Honestly, like, I think also something that I want to say is, we're at minute 52 and a half.
Oh,
Is
oh,
also like,
oh, wow.
if people are not after our kind of life, which is, like traveling or becoming a coach or whatever, starting a business,
Yeah,
or, you know, whatever goal I think you have in mind. I think that getting out of the comfort zone is that one thing that will allow you to achieve whatever you're after. Because
yeah,
again, like my life and your life, Chris, like they're a bit different.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
like we're at different stages in life also.
Yeah,
But I think that what we can see is like the common thread of both our stories is that by getting uncomfortable, we basically started taking action also, and then we created threads, like the roots of a tree, and
yeah,
then like we started like reaction chains,
yeah,
you know and now what you're, for example, achieving in 2026 would have never been possible if you didn't start something on your own in 2025, and now and then left your corporate job and taking risk after risk after risk, but taking action. And then when the good things happen, you can always trace it back. Let's say, oh yeah, I saw you from a LinkedIn post in December 2025. I was like, okay, who put that post out? It was you, right?
yeah,
And again, I love that, because like
yeah,
it empowers us to realize that it's really up to us to
yeah.
make things happen in our life. And that's incredible, because it really makes you feel like you're actually in control, which I believe that we really are. And
We can be.
we can be good point. So we can be in control of our life. I think we still are, in the sense that if we do not take action, we still made a decision, right?
Yeah,
um
true.
but but again, it's like I get to live in Japan. For me, one of my dreams was like, okay, I left corporate and I knew that I wanted to have freedom. I knew that I wanted to start living something that felt more me and exploring the world with my girlfriend, being able to live this life. And I was like, one of my goals would be, let's say, to be able in the first year of like, getting my corporate salary from my own business. I was like, well, that would be a crazy win, right? And then when I get months, that in the first year still, that are like a multiples of what I used to get, I was like, oh my
It,
god,
it feels surreal.
it,
It's
it, it
absolutely
feels
surreal.
feels insane. And then
Yeah,
the fact that, for example, like I help my clients achieve some results, and I'm like, how is this possible? And then I think it's always like it's really good for ourselves to then even look forward and say, well, I see the pattern. The more I take action, the more good stuff happens.
yeah,
And then really, I think also becomes the key of like not just you get comfortable doing it, but you
yeah,
also get motivated because
yeah,
you see that
absolutely.
actually if you take action, you get like the candy, like
Exactly. Yeah, motivation and confidence is, yeah, that's a good framing, man. Motivation and confidence is a candy of taking action. Oh, I love
yeah,
that. That's a
yeah.
good one.
And I think that honestly for our audience, like whether whatever dream, like it's just realize you can be in control
Yeah,
and you
you
can
can.
really go after it. It's
Yeah,
gonna be it's gonna be f hard, like fucking hard, no doubt about it. It's gonna be
no,
scary, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna require a lot of work.
but it's worth
Mm.
it.
It's so worth it. It's
Damn it,
so
man.
worth it.
It's so worth it.
And so
And
honestly,
by the way, I would like to add one thing before we end here. When it comes to
absolutely.
to my why personally, when it comes to my work, and I think you will. I already know you will agree. One of the most or the best side effects when working with people and seeing their results is that the energy they produce, I mean, the change they make within themselves will ripple at one point through other people. So it means, you know, when you're working with people like you and me, it's like it's it's just multiplying all the time. You're working with one people, it multiplies to other people. So, and you're working with another one, blah, blah, blah. So you never affect only one. It's one conversation at a time. No question about that. But it always ripples through. So, and this is having
Absolutely.
this in mind. Additionally, it just satisfies me
Yeah, honestly,
that it impacts
I
other
think
people's life, more people than I actually wanted. So,
yeah, I think like the good thing about getting this comfort with getting after your dreams, especially if you're like a giver,
yeah,
if you have this purpose and you're purpose led and you really want to give, not only you get to live your dreams,
yeah,
like whatever those are, but you get a ton of fulfillment from that.
oh, yeah,
Like for me, just being able to go walk the streets in Japan and taking my camera, my photo camera, and taking snaps, and I'm like, oh, this feels so good, and it's crazy that I can do that. But
yeah,
then I also get to work with international clients, and they get results, and they then multiply their results, and they can like just the fact that their lives are affected positively
mm,
is going to bring them to a better stage in life in which they actually want to influence others positively.
yeah,
And I'm all about it, like as you said, like rippling effect. It's one of the most fulfilling things in my brain, and one of like the mental let's say trips that I go down is like thinking about all the ramification of the fact.
yeah,
Like if I talk with you today, even this is a funny exercise
yeah,
right before we leave, like the fact that we're talking and maybe we shared something or we motivated someone to
yeah. This
to
is the
take
hope,
action,
man.
which is really like why we do this.
Yeah,
If we motivate them, we give them the tool and they can actually go after whatever they're after,
yeah,
then they're gonna be like, oh my god, and they're gonna talk to their friends and be like, I was in this conversation And this is a tool that really helped me. You want to try, and maybe those people can also be helped. And I love that. Honestly, I think that then you really make a change.
Yeah, this is Joe. This is how we slowly change the world to a better one. I hope. I mean, this is
This is the goal.
yeah. Let's try, my friend. Let's
Yes.
try.
And
And
let's see if there is anybody with a question as we
yeah,
cross the 60-minute mark.
I have
Um,
I
yeah,
haven't checked it all yet, so I was
yeah. I had
really focused.
the comments here, but as we were going through the conversation,
Okay.
I wasn't really paying that much attention. There was Hashim who said hi, and great to see you guys doing this together. And we say hi to Hashim. But if there are any questions, I think we can answer them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Chris, this was
Oh man.
beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. The thing is, I never have expectations.
Yeah.
But I'm just always happy to see. Okay, nice. There's someone I really have a connection with, and I can just share with him or her whatever comes along the way right now. So, and it's like this kind of spaces where you can 100% be you, and this is,
Yeah.
I think, priceless. In a way.
Yeah,
So,
100%, honestly.
thanks, my friend, for inviting
Thank
me.
you, Chris. And I think as there are no questions coming up, I would say bye everyone to our
Bye,
audience.
everyone.
See
Thanks for
you live
listening.
on LinkedIn. Thank you for coming up,
Yeah.
Chris.
Have a good
Thank
one,
you.
Gio, and enjoy. I mean, it must be quite late at yours.
Yeah, it's dinner time.
Oh, well, okay.
Ramen time. Or
All right.
sushi.
All right. Have a good one. Enjoy the sushi, and we write, my friend.
Yes. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao.
You too. Ciao, ciao.